You're listening to the Precision Shooting Podcast, discussing all aspects of precision and long-range rifle shooting. This episode is brought to you by Impact Dynamics, advanced training for the precision shooter. And now, over to your hosts.
Well, hello and welcome to the Precision Shooting Podcast. This is Rusty here, and we're sitting in the hotel room just having finished the Shot Expo. Right over in the corner is Greg. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, good, Rusty. Yourself? Bit tired?
Yeah, you look pretty tired, mate.
Yeah, mate.
Now, we've got a couple of guests on this episode. So, to my right is Ben Johnson from the Armory. Ben, how you going?
Good, Rusty. Very good, thank you.
Excellent, mate. Thanks for joining us. And to my left is James, and James has started a blog recently. What's your blog called, mate?
Yeah, it's called Shooter Ready.
Shooter Ready. Thanks for joining us, mate.
Thanks for having me.
Excellent. And next to, or in between the two of us, is Greg. Hey, Greg. Another Greg.
G'day, Rust. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. This is going to get confusing with two Gregs, isn't it? Yeah. Fantastic. So, guys, it was Shot Expo for everyone. Now, who hasn't been to Shot Expo before?
I haven't.
Hand signs don't work so much.
So I haven't been here before.
Haven't been, Ben?
No.
Yeah?
Nope. Yeah, I've never been either, Rust.
No, cool. And other
Greg?
Greg?
I was the same. So, yeah, I haven't been to an expo before. And
Virgins.
yeah, and it was pretty busy, wasn't it? It was flat out.
So Greg and I were here as well as with Ben to work on the stand with, Projectile Warehouse for Ben and myself, and Greg was here with STS. And also Greg, the other Greg, this is going to get so confusing. Special Greg was here, and we need to, he was here with, launching a brand. Tell us about what you're doing, mate.
Yeah, so we're trying to launch a brand called Armory Athlete. Just trying to get things off the ground, just doing positional shooting products and a bit of apparel and things like that.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, excellent. And so you were working on the stand with us, with your products, and also a little bit with Projectile Warehouse and Precision Rifle Products and all the other crew we were sort of selling stuff with.
I think I was slinging more produce than bags today, mate.
Yeah, but you got to show the stuff, mate. You got to get it out.
This is true.
And James, you were here just purely looking at the show and just sort of talking to people, I'm guessing.
Basically, I was there at the show to give a bit of an overview for the blog. Really just to give the newer generation of Australian shooters an idea of what's out there and what to look forward to in 2016, 2017.
So, ironically, considering Greg, the others, Greg, Ben, myself, were here for three days, James, you probably saw more in the day you were here in one day. What did you see that was really interesting, mate?
Or I'd say probably the highlight for me was TACMed was at SHOT Show this year.
I thought it would have been hanging out with Ben.
Oh.
No? Okay.
I get that all the time. It's all good.
Cool. And so TACMed, what do they do?
Okay, so TACMed was at SHOT Show for the first time this year, or as far as I know anyways, and they do medical products, specifically for shooters and hunters. They've got a gunshot wound class, how to patch yourself up or how to patch somebody else up if they suffer a gunshot wound.
Wow.
They sell trauma kits that come in vacuum-sealed bags, so pretty much if someone gets injured, rip open the bag and you've got everything you need in one really handy life-saving package.
Yeah, brilliant. Excellent. And so that was your highlight. For the other guys, go around the room. Greg, what was your highlight?
Probably for me was Ben and I went for a walk and we saw Ben's dream rifle. I really like the scope on top of that. So what was that, Ben? That was a Steiner.
No, yeah, the Steiner on top.
Yeah, the Steiner on top. That was that 6x24?
Yep,
6x25.
5 to 25.
5 to 25.
5 to 25 on the
by
Seiko
56,
M10.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it just the optics through that so clear. When we were looking at it, it was actually going into evening. It was getting quite dark, and
yeah, it was Friday night, wasn't it?
Yeah, and looking out the window, it looked relatively dark, but looking through the scope, it was quite bright. And I was just super impressed by the optics of that scope. While Ben was super impressed with the rifle.
Yeah.
But I'll let Ben talk about that.
Yeah, well, it's been my dream for probably ever since I've gotten back into rifle shooting a lot more, and I don't know, being a Seiko shooter my entire life, I suppose. Yeah, that is one of the dream rifles.
So what was the model, just for the listeners?
Yeah, so it's a Seiko M10, which is basically Seiko's version of a change-out barrel, which is a tactical thing that they set up for military and police for their precision shooting and that sort of thing. So love the idea because you can change out from 308 to 300 to 338 depending on the purpose use that you do. It's got its own toolkit on board. Just a beautiful piece of machinery.
So they're in-field changeable or gunsmith?
In-field.
In-field changeable.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, brilliant, boys. And Greg, special Greg, how about yourself, mate? What did you see that you liked?
Look, to be honest, I think just walking around and getting to talk to a few different people, do a bit more networking, and met some other good sort of contacts, and that was probably more the highlight. There wasn't actually a particular stand or anything that stood out. Just meeting more people. Yeah,
it's certainly a good environment for that.
Yeah,
isn't it? Yeah. I guess for myself, apart from the exhibitor drinks, I really I enjoyed seeing the Lithgows. I guess seeing those 102s and actually sort of playing with them. I thought they were really. I think they've done it very well, and it's good to hear that they've actually shipped them as well. And I mean, I saw them when they first were at Melbourne, I reckon, last year, and they've improved them since then. But to see the final versions, really nice. And Lithgow have brought out a product line to support their rifles, which Ben spent way too much money on.
No kidding.
I did too, mate. Don't worry.
Oh, he did?
Yeah,
I did as well. Yeah, very good. And so purchases, I guess it's a sign of what grabbed our attention. I bought a little bastard break from the guys at Huntsman, as well as another bubble level from Accuracy First. Anyone else spend some money?
Oh yeah, I spent probably too much money, especially at the Lithgow stand.
Your wife won't hear this, mate. It's all right.
Oh really? Oh, okay, thank goodness for that.
Can we insure that, please?
Drop 10 grand.
Yeah, that's right. No,
it's an M10 arriving next week.
Yeah, so there was. I agree with Special Greg as well. There was a lot of good connections with a whole bunch of different. Different suppliers and different products and everything like that. And it's really cool to see the Australian-made stuff. I know my accent might sound a little bit funny.
Yeah, it's
but
sort of unique.
What part of Canada are you from?
Yeah, no, it's not Canadian. It's American. But
sorry, Ben.
That's okay. I'm not offended by it. It's all good. But I've been here
deeply emotionally in turmoil. About
that. Well, I've been here 30 years, so I've grown up as an Australian. Moved out here when I was 8 years old, and to see, and I've got very passionate, I suppose, affiliation with the Australian side of things because I grew up here. So. So seeing that and seeing such a beautiful rifle, the Lithgow, and only shooting one for the first time last year, I was beyond impressed. And obviously being, like I said, a Seiko man, to see that they're up with that very, very much that kind of class of precision and the machine work on it, and it's a beautiful piece of machinery. Good tool for the trade, that's for sure.
Very good. And Greg, I know you spent some money. I had to hold you back because you had 5 Defiance actions lined up there at Huntsman, and you were about to put. And I said, "Dude, just stay with 4."
No, I'm glad you did. Thanks, Rusty.
I'm looking for you, mate. Yeah. But aside from the Defiance actions, what did you buy, mate?
No, I mainly got accessories this time around. So I bought a dual gun bag again at the Lithgow stand. Also, I got a really nice drag bag.
Yep.
Pretty happy with that as well, and also bought a really thick sort of hunting coat from the Lithgow stand, which I'm super impressed with.
That looks good.
Yeah, it looks like I'm wearing a swag when I've got it on, but it's
beautiful.
Really
swag.
nice jacket.
The thing is, if you have a couple of drinks and you fall over, you can just go to sleep.
That's it. Just go to sleep.
Where did you get your drag bag from? I don't actually see your drag bag.
I don't know the name of the stand, but it wasn't far from the Lithgow stand.
Left a memory.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so it's memorable purchase, yeah.
Yeah, I just saw it and bought it and left. So, yeah.
Good.
Best kind of purchase.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, it looked like an original design by the guy that owned the stand, and, fairly fully featured drag bag with all the different compartments inside it. And
I'm probably going to look at making a drag bag at some point. So.
Yeah, righto. Yeah, no worries. Very good. So that's all I really bought this trip, but it was good walking around when I got the chance.
Good fun. Yeah, it was tough to get away, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And James, you spending money, mate?
No, and I kind of regret that actually.
Just heard about all this cool stuff everyone bought.
Oh, well, I spent so much time talking to Rob Woods at Huntsman that I kind of forgot that, hey, I kind of do want an Accuracy First bubble level, and I kind of do want a couple of other things there as well, like the Applied Ballistics books and things like that, but I guess that's something I can buy later on down the track too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm waiting for that new applied ballistics book, which we've been mentioning, and apparently they're coming next month. So
Is that the one with the rangefinder review?
that's the one,
Yeah.
mate. I
Yep.
know you're ready.
Yeah.
I know you're ready. Yeah, good.
Cool.
So anyway, is there anything? I mean, it was a big expo. There was, I think, numbers are well over 10,000. I think perhaps a lot more. There was about 7,000 on the first day. 12,000.
Yeah, easily 12.
Yeah, 12,000. So it was a good expo, good turnout, and it's really good to see the support from all the Sydney guys, and to have huge numbers. I mean, working the stand on the Saturday, we just didn't get a break.
Oh, yeah, that was full on.
I had to leave for about an hour to go and do a talk, and Ben was hating me.
Well, no, there was only slight hatred, but and you were gone for 45 minutes, an hour probably, and I served, I would say, 40 to 50 people within that time.
I don't believe
You
that.
know,
yeah.
and it was nonstop, 3 people deep. I mean, I've got photos on the Facebook page showing how deep.
So you had time to take photos.
I did. Once you came back. Yeah, I almost got away with that, didn't I? Yeah. So no, actually, I left the stand all alone by myself.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, just give the produce away.
It was
Serve yourself.
Yeah, that's right. It was a lot of fun.
There's an honour system.
Money in the box.
Very good. Cool. Yeah, no, it was good. It was certainly good fun. Good show. I think it was put on very well, and there was a good diversity of stands as well, and products represented.
Yeah. There was a lot of stands there. I'd never heard of quite a few of the stands that were there. Like, some of the more sort of probably obscure stuff like bush cooking and stuff like that. So for me, that's a bit of appeal as well, because that's part of shooting for me.
Yeah.
And it was good to see all that stuff, and even just grabbing the guide from the event, I'll go back and have a bit of a look at their websites and stuff like that. So it was really good.
Yeah.
Real eye-opener for me.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys, James, I guess, probably the only one. Did you see any demonstrations or anything?
Yeah, I actually went to see you up on stage.
Apart from that one. Well, did you see any other ones that are perhaps more interesting?
He's a groupie. It's all good.
I got to give a shout out to
Oh, thanks, man.
Or aside from your presentation, no, I didn't spend much time at the main stage at all.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I would have liked to. I would have liked to see the hunt, catch, cook one. I think that would have been.
And there was, I think there was a full caping as well. Caping demonstration and slaughter, I think, Greg. Yeah, I think of a deer.
I know there was a caping one. I didn't know there was a
probably not
breakdown one.
Yeah, maybe not a slaughter, probably a butchering.
Yeah.
A
Oops.
breakdown one. Yeah.
Incorrect terminology. Sorry, people.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Just edit that out. It's all good.
Yeah, that'll be
Oh,
gone.
special, Greg.
Yeah.
We write that one down as special, Greg. Very good.
Well, did you get much interest in when you were up there doing your presentation?
I think so. There was relatively. It was first thing in the morning. First thing, 10 o'clock in the morning. But even by 10 o'clock, people were still making their way into the expo. It's certainly the lines were. Well, Greg, you came in a little bit later on the Saturday. The lines were still fairly long.
Yeah, the line was still, it was massive. It was well past like the entry sort of way, across it was long.
Yeah, and that was a couple of hours into it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So, and the reports we had is when everyone arrived at sort of 9 o'clock, the lines were a couple hundred metres long. So great to see that support, but I guess that means that people weren't all the way in. Still, by the time we started, which is, other people were in, but they were still looking at all the stuff on the way through to wherever they were, and the presentations were in pretty much the back corner of the furthest possible distance from the front. But yeah, I think it was good. We plugged a bit of a course that we're going to be doing later in the year, and had a lot of response from that, which was wonderful.
Yeah, well, it was really interesting. It was 10 o'clock in the morning, and you're right, shooters were still sort of filing in and sort of finding what they want to do and taking seats, so on and so forth. But you generated a lot of interest in your introduction to long-range course, especially when you were talking about things like truing your ballistics data to get you good firing solutions from point blank all the way out to the edge of supersonic within 20 rounds. And people were looking at each other going, what? No way, 20 rounds. And that's good, because you're not lying. You can do it. It's just people don't have that knowledge base and the skill set to do it.
Yeah, that includes zeroing, by the way. Just to clarify.
You're telling me.
Very good.
Yeah, I found it. I found it interesting that there probably there was less sort of competition and long range shooters that I spoke to anyway. Yeah, there was obviously a vast majority of hunters and sport shooters, and I didn't get to talk to a lot of long range shooters on the stand.
And that's probably pretty prevalent in the mix that we have within this community. It's not a big percentage, and so yeah, we had guys. There certainly was guys there because we spoke to some of them, and we had them out there when we were talking about that, and they would have certainly hung past Ben's M10 that he lent to Beretta to put on the stand. Isn't that right?
That's right.
But certainly it was still a fairly small percentage of this mix. Greg, did you have many long range sort of shooters buying targets?
Not a great deal in terms of guys that have a really strong knowledge of long range shooting.
Yep.
We did have a reasonable amount of guys that were out at distance.
Yep.
And then like quite a few guys that were just looking for plates to hit, on their local properties. Sort of around the 400, 500, 600. So yeah, no, it was really good. They were really receptive to the targets. So yeah, pretty keen to set up like home ranges on their properties and stuff like that. So there was a lot of sort of recreational shooting, if you like. So, and we all sort of know that's how it all begins.
Yeah.
And I did open their eyes quite a bit to the sizing of the targets being like 2 MOA and saying how you can adjust off your width of target. So that was sort of turning on a few light bulbs for guys, and they're going, oh, right, so I can make adjustments by how much I miss in gong widths. And, so they were going, oh, right, yeah. So, probably high-end guys, quite a small number, but, lots and lots of guys just keen to get out there and hit gongs. Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Ben, what about you, mate?
Yeah, it was interesting being able to chat to them. Obviously, you know how Projectile Warehouse has it set up in sort of a window shopping scenario with all the trays that are set up. You get to see a lot of people's eyes open up when they actually look at the different shapes and sizes that they can use in their firearms now. And the selection, the selection and choice is quite good. So one of the cool things that I was able to share with a lot of them is that, well, look, you can do what these things are designed for a certain purpose, and you can go further on than what you're probably used to, depending on what you're trying to do and all that sort of thing. And it was cool being able just to talk with them and saying, look, you guys can go from doing your 300, 400, 500 meters shots and feel confident that that's actually where your starting point is.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So you always have that point of impact at that thing, so the confidence increases. And then when you start going out, start reaching out to 8, 9, 1,000 meters, you can then go, actually, I know that this thing that I've already designed is going to go out and do its job at that other end. And so I was able to show some videos and stuff that you and I had done and I've done on my own property, and just to say, look, this is where things can go with what you're doing, and obviously giving a really good plug-in for what Impact Dynamics are going to be doing, and what the course is all about, and basically what we're trying to do with changing the perception of what sporting shooters are all about. And it's actually a sophisticated piece of equipment that you can, we're not just rednecks out there shooting up steel. It's actually, there's a lot of mathematics and physics and all that sort of thing involved. And so it's cool to be able to see that. And someone like Greg said, is the light bulbs come on and go, I can shoot 1,000 meters. Yeah, you can.
With a 308.
With a 308. Yeah, and it's like...
It's making long range accessible to
are you
a lot
kidding
more
me?
people.
Yeah. So it was cool that, the photos and pictures, they don't lie. There's no Photoshop or anything like that when they're seeing us shooting those things and being able to do it. So it was really cool to be able to do that and help inspire, especially some of the new shooters that were coming through going, oh, wow, I've heard about these projectiles. What do you think? And then being able to say, well, actually, yeah, those are awesome, and this is what they can do.
Yeah.
So it empowers them. They walk away going, yeah, heck yeah, I'm going to do that now. I'm going to try this and do that sort of thing. So it's just great to see the excitement in their eyes, the confidence increase. So that was what the highlight with that was. So I did have awesome. the obviously the very experienced shooters come up, and being able to talk to them, and that's been cool as well, because you're talking with like-minded people, that are really passionate about getting down to the half grain increments in their load development and all that sort of thing. And you just, I know what that's like, buddy. I want to start cutting these things in half, and just getting this so precise that...
Not getting real until you're cutting your powder in half.
Exactly. You're sitting there with scissors. It's terrible, so, yeah. No, it was really, really cool to be able to do that and be a part of the whole thing, so...
Yeah. Well, brilliant, mate. Thanks for coming along.
Yeah, well, speaking about the long range and the precision shooters, did any of you guys get to check out Oztec Arms and their chassis system that they're coming out with?
Sure did. Yeah, I had quite a lengthy conversation with all the boys there, especially Ben. So we are going to be developing some stuff with the Armory and SA. So hopefully, him and I are going to be doing a lot more marketing together and some good talking about what we want to do with promoting. Again, like I said with Lithgow, it's Australian made. And I love that, and I want to promote that as much as possible, so...
Obviously, Rusty, this is why we waited 50 minutes for our coffee.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I was doing a coffee break at that stage, yes, I remember. I
remember. we know we were waiting.
Yeah. That's why it was cold when it came to us,
I can't...
a small diversion
Dots have been joined, Rusty.
Yeah.
Dots have been joined.
Rome wasn't built in a day, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I really agree with you, Ben, about that whole thing, Oztec Arms being an Australian company and how that's... It's innovative, and it's something that we need inside of the Australian shooting community. Being able to come out with a new product, market it, have something that's accessible to the general public or the general shooting public that delivers the kind of performance that you're only used to seeing from really high dollar American or European products is fantastic, and we kind of need more of it.
We obviously need that support with local dealers like myself, that's really what we want to do is be able to use a platform for Australian made products and go, guys, this stuff is awesome, get on board. We really need to promote this because not only does it help promote the industry, but it helps support these Australian companies as much as possible because these guys are passionate about it. I mean, we're just talking with him for 5 minutes and you're excited about everything that he does.
Oh yeah. They're definitely on the ball for that.
We had a chat the Saturday night with those guys, and we showed them the PRI video and had a good chat about their sort of stuff, looked at some photos. And in the brief time I had a chat to them, the brief time I had out looking at stuff the next day, I couldn't find them.
Really?
Yeah, I couldn't find them, so I didn't get to see them in the flesh. So I'm going to have to take your boys' words on it. But I guess that brings up a point about these Shot Expos and I remember last year we took a bus to Melbourne with a bunch of guys. We took about 16, 17 guys on a bus over to Melbourne, and we gave them a day at the expo, the whole Saturday they had there, and then we had the option for them to go back on the Sunday morning. Now, most of the guys went for the entire day, and they were thinking, what are we going to do for a day? Like, the expo's only so big. And they finished up the day saying, well, that was good. It was a little bit long, but we saw everything we wanted to. That was brilliant. We won't go back the next morning. We'll just head back to Adelaide a little bit earlier. And, of course, everyone got chatting to everyone that night. And over the course of, a couple of hours of talking, everyone sort of come up to me and Stewie and Rich running it and said, if there is any chance we can go back tomorrow, it sounds like there's a few things I missed and a few things I'd like to see again. And we ended up the next day back there for another couple of hours before we had to leave because we had to get back. And I remember catching up with some guys a week or two later, and they'd been to Shot Expo sort of by themselves, and they said they were there for an hour and a half, and they said they saw everything. And I said, oh, really? And they said, yeah, no, we saw it all, and it just wasn't a lot of good stuff. And they said, well, yeah, we wanted to look at a Schmidt and Bender, and a particular stand had it, and they wouldn't let us, wouldn't take it out of the cabinet for us. I said, oh, okay. Did you see the other stand that had them as well, and were actually out on display, and you can handle them? They went, no, we didn't see that. I said, so you didn't see everything. And so I guess you guys, for those who haven't been before, you've experienced it now. There's a lot there to see, isn't there?
There's a hell of a lot.
There's a ton. I'll fully admit, there's a lot more I could have seen, but you had me slaving away, slinging your produce.
Someone had to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Wait, so what were you doing, Rusty?
Just talking, just really talking, eating. I was out the back drinking a bit, just good normal things. No, it was pretty full on, and I think it's just say not being able to find Oztech. I didn't. To be fair, I didn't look hard. I was in a fairly sort of limited time frame, but there's just so many sort of areas you could go, and I kept finding new stands to walk past quickly. But yeah, there is a lot. So if you do get the chance to go, don't just sort of walk past the stand, because there's a lot of sort of small amounts of gold on each stand. It looks like.
Well, I think with most gold, you obviously got to go digging for it. And I think the point is that
you can go panning for gold.
Well, you can too. That's right. But they're little bits, whereas you want to dig for the big stuff. So I
good
think
analogy.
Yeah. So what I found is that basically you can go and look at a stand, and you can look at it in 5 minutes. But when you want to learn about the guy that's running it or behind the idea, like Oztech and Huntsman and all those guys, if you want to go behind the scenes,
Precision Rifle Products are a good example of that.
You got to actually do it.
Yeah.
You got to find out what is the guy behind the product or behind the stand, and that's where it takes time, because all of a sudden you look around and no coffees, and 45 minutes later, and it's people get disappointed
and angry. Yeah.
And there's a lot of cross-pollination going on as well between a lot of dealers and distributors and even product markets. You go and look at guys who do clothing and apparel and backpacks and stuff like that, like X-Tac, for example. They got some good product lines on display, and then you look at the stands and you go, oh, you've got knives. What kind of knives, for instance? And from there, you just sort of go, oh, I never thought about these kinds of things. You talk to the guys behind the counter, and suddenly you go, oh, I want to go have a look at the knife dealers around here, and I want to go and learn a little bit more about something that I might have taken for granted.
That's probably a fair point, and I think it's obviously what you're saying, Ben, is that there's a lot of products on display, but for many of those stands, there's not a lot of knowledge standing behind that counter, and it's more than just sort of looking, oh yeah, you got that, it's that price, no, I can get it cheaper elsewhere. You talk to the guys standing behind there and what they know and what they're passionate about. I tell you what, there's some interesting blokes there, and ladies as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Very good. Greg, have you been to other expos in other industries?
Look, I went to an expo many years ago, and it was just all ex-military stuff, like old ex-military stuff. So it's come a long way over the years, and it was good to see, a lot more modern equipment in the modern expo, and a lot more precision type rifles, the high end gear. It's all really good to see, rather than all the ex-military World War II stuff.
Yeah, I had a guy come and speak to me after our talk, and he was wanting to buy a scope. Now, he had a reasonable budget, and he was sort of thinking, oh, do I go that one or that one? And I said, mate, this is sort of your best opportunity, because right now you can go get hands on every single one of those scopes, and you can talk to a bloke that knows about those scopes and actually compare them to each other. Now, obviously, you can't do it at night, but during the day you can do it. You can click them, you can do all that sort of gear, which you I don't know, a gun shop has 20 different brands of high-end scopes sitting there on the shelf. Okay, the armory's getting close.
I'm trying.
I know.
It's going to take a time.
But it's not quite there yet, and so to be able to do that in Expo, and that, literally, you could spend a day doing that. Quite comfortably. You spend sort of 40 minutes looking at each scope, your day's gone.
Yep.
Particularly if you wait for your coffee for a while.
Totally. Totally. No, that's right, and that's the thing. You want to be able to actually. I think that's what's cool about the expos. You can actually get your hands on a whole bunch of different products and range of products and stuff that you go, well, my mate said that this one is a cheap one, or it's a crap one. It's like, well, don't use your mate's opinion. Just get out there and try it yourself. See
hands on it.
See what it's like for you. See if it works for you, and all that sort of thing. And you've got these guys that are actually working the stand, are meant to be passionate about what their product is and be able to show you through what the different things are about it. So once you're able to do that and go through it, you're able to finally see, hang on, I'm going to narrow it down now. You're gonna go down the line of what you really want.
Yeah, I think sometimes if you as a consumer, we're always so against people selling us something. But sometimes if you're in the market for something and you go around and you talk to a few experts and just let them sell you. Let them sell you on what they think is the best points. And then, then you can sort of use that information a bit better. But we're always so, as you say, I can get it cheaper somewhere else.
Yep.
Or, just let them sell you.
Yep.
And then later on make your decision.
Yeah, absolutely. And I found it interesting that we had guys, I know they came up to you, Ben, and myself, and they asked us like what we use scope-wise, what we use rifle-wise, or caliber-wise. And we weren't selling scopes or guns or anything like that. But they were obviously worked out that we shot a little bit, and they were asking us about that. And
massive understatement there.
And I suspect that
Just a little.
They weren't asking us. No, I suspect that you can ID those sort of guys and ask them what they're using, and you're getting independent advice. You're getting the info from the guys who are selling your stuff, which is good information, as you pointed out, especially Greg. And then you're getting information from guys who are active in doing it. And I guess if you blend that together, you'll probably make a pretty decent decision.
Yeah, no, that's true. It's true. I mean, I got a ton of questions. And, because I had a bit of info on it as well, like on things like, you think that you're getting info, or you're getting questions on, your 30 cals and your big long-range cartridge. I've got heaps of questions on 223s and things like that, and they're good. That's good to sort of give that kind of info as well. So
yeah, absolutely. Do you guys have any strange requests over the weekend? During the show, guys, I mean, just to clarify.
Yeah, keep that real, Greg.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. I had some interesting questions. Obviously, just knowledge base that was building up that we had to clarify. So just helping guys on their path to knowledge, which was great. Again, going back to the point of the light bulb coming on for these guys and girls, and really just pointing them in the right. Just give them a little bit of a shift in the right direction, and they were really. You could see their almost awareness happening, So I don't know whether you experienced that at all, Rusty.
Yeah, certainly. And of course when we get the joy of dealing with projectiles, so guys are saying, "Oh, I want something heavier for a 30 cal." Yeah, right. You're probably getting into your long range shooting. Well, what are you doing, mate? Oh, I want to shoot 1,000 meters. Yeah, that was worked that one out pretty quick, and so it allows you to sort of establish what they're doing, and you can ask them a lot more questions and. Yeah, we had guys trying to run really heavy stuff in 308s, and we had guys trying to get a really fast, lightweight 300 Win Mag, and then everything in between. And sometimes you certainly don't want to say, "Oh no, that's a terrible idea, mate," because it may not be for what it is. But you certainly want to be able to let them think through, perhaps present some issues that they may encounter, and then they can make the decision themselves as to which is the best decision. And not to say that you can't do those things, of course you can. But if they've made that decision, they're informed about it, of what their pros and cons for it. And it's actually I really enjoy being part of that process with them. Yeah, it's really good.
Yep.
Yeah, scratching the surface with them. Just about twist rates and stuff like that. That was probably one of the biggest things. Guys going back to the 223. They're like, "Oh, I want to run 75s or 77s," and you're just sort of trying to juice a bit of the information about what gun they're shooting it out of, and try to sort of give them a bit of a feel for twist rates, and that was good.
Yeah, very good. I think for guys like us who are a little bit more experienced in this, it's not so much imparting knowledge per se. It's more, for me, anyways. It's more about imparting best principles and practices, and then allowing the shooters who came to ask you these highly complex questions to then apply those principles and practices in their own way and come up with their own answer, because everyone's ideal solution might be a little bit unique to that particular person.
And by the same token, we weren't just some bastion of knowledge either. I learnt a stack from people who I was talking to and what they were experiencing, what they were doing, and that's one of the other benefits of doing this sort of thing is you get to speak and you get to leverage the experience of others, and you get to understand what they've gone through, what they've experienced, and so I walked away learning probably more than I taught by a long way. So which is really good, because you feel like you've gained more knowledge. Which makes you feel pretty stupid to start with, which is great.
Yeah, for me, probably the biggest knowledge bombs I took away from the show were actually on a tactical medicine side of things.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't think about it, but in our sport, we're setting off controlled explosions pretty close to our face. Especially if you're a pistol shooter who shoots an IPSC, the potential for an ND or a negligent discharge into, say, your leg or your foot, or accidentally muzzling your hand and shooting yourself and stuff like that, is pretty high. It's present. If you go out hunting in the sticks and you're by yourself, then any kind of injury resulting from a gunshot wound, resulting from breaking bones, potential serious fractures and things like that can cause very, very serious health concerns. But we tend not to think about things like this. You know, most rangers have a first aid kit that would not save your life if you were under some kind of massive hemorrhage or some kind of gunshot wound trauma. And these things are things we should be thinking about, which is why, for me, the biggest takeaway was from TACMED, being able to talk to someone who's an ex-Special Forces medic who has used all of these techniques, all of these products to save lives overseas, and say, hey, I can teach you all of this stuff in a course, and you can walk away with the products and the knowledge to not just save your own life, but maybe somebody else's life. You know, like that was huge for me, and it's an aspect of shooting that I really think is a missing link.
And certainly to not to say that we'd like to learn those skills and never use them, which would be ideal.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And of course, you know, just to clarify, they obviously put all those safety things in, but it's knowledge that at the moment that something did go wrong, it would be very worthwhile having.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I think you do more accidents and everything while hunting, just with where you are in terrain. You know, it's easy to climb up, the side of a hill, trip over something like that. You know, I mean, there's some rough terrain that we go through to actually do some shit.
Yeah.
I trip over steps.
Well, I know. Well, I even trip over the floor, and I don't even know what happens there. You know, it's trying to pick up the feet. But you're exactly right there, James. It's a very neglected side, I would say. And, you know, being my background's in the building industry anyway, so we were hammered every 3 years with making sure our first aid course was up to date and all that sort of thing. And we've seen some pretty nasty trauma on the building side. But it's the same sort of thing in hunting. And it's like what we're saying with everything else. The knowledge is actually empowering to someone to go, actually, I feel a lot more confident going out doing what I'm doing here because I know if anything was to go wrong, that the confidence will then help me go to the right place. And I think that's the interesting what you're saying before too, Rusty, about, you know, people coming up and learning a lot about not only them and what they're doing, but a lot about yourself. And I think I was quite humbled by being asked fairly serious questions by some top-end, you know, F-class shooters, and going, okay, I could come across as an arrogant person and say, well, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, and you need to try this, this, and this, where I was engaging in humility with the conversation with them, actually not only increase their confidence, but my confidence in explaining that, what I would try. And I think that's cool, is to be able to cross that divide. It's not us against them, or your shooting style is weird compared to mine, or any of that sort of thing. It was really cool to be able to see that cross-pollination of the whole industry.
Unless they're left-handed. Isn't that right, Greg?
Yeah, lefties. No good.
Yeah.
No good.
My dad's left-handed.
Yeah.
Strange.
And you notice that you're invited on the podcast, not your dad?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dad.
That's all right. Very good. It's great to have you guys all on the podcast. And thank you for being part of the show with us and hanging out with us. And thanks for those guys who worked pretty hard. Thanks for working pretty hard. Thanks also to Greg for
Which
being
one?
there. I didn't say special, Greg. Yeah,
Get with the program, James.
that's right.
Pretty
Keep up.
easy to work it out, mate. Come on.
Yeah, so I guess for those guys who were in Sydney, we'd love to hear from you who did go to the show. And I met a bunch of guys who came up and talked and said they listened to the podcast. It was awesome to have guys actually mention that. I guess one of the things is it's hard to pick a voice. So we were obviously not so many people would know what we look like.
Greg's voice is pretty standard to pick, but yeah.
This time of night, it's amazing.
Listen to her, Kermit.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it.
Kermit the Frog. Yeah, no, it's all good.
Okay, I guess we've got an opinion poll we want to put out. Does Greg sound like Kermit the Frog on this podcast? So let us know your thoughts.
It'd be an honour.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's right.
I just want to bring up one thing before you wrap up,
Yeah, let's go.
Rusty. Is Saturday night we met up with an overseas veteran.
Oh, wow.
And I just wanted to mention a really good scheme for soldiers having difficulties after returning from overseas.
Yep.
It was called Trojan Trek, and it turned his life around. He was having some issues when he came back. So I just want to put out there, if anyone's come back from overseas deployment and they're having any issues or trouble, maybe look that up on Google, Trojan Trek, and just have a conversation
well.
and it can be a good step forward for those guys.
Have you got any more information on it, or is it best to go to the website?
It's just straight to the website, mate. Yeah, so I just want to give that a plug.
Yeah.
Because it certainly helped him out. So,
yeah, that's
cheers.
awesome. One thing we will mention is we are taking questions at the moment to win the Precision Rifle Products load kits, and we were standing next to those guys all weekend, and it's really good to see they're passionate about what they do, and
if more people understood what that kit did, we would have sold a ton more.
Yeah, it's just a matter of sort of, it's a fairly complex unit, but once you get your head around it, it's real good. And we got some to give away, so if you got any questions on anything, we'll try our best to answer them, or maybe get these boys, special Greg and James and Ben, in and to answer them for us. And that would be be really good. So send them in through email, Facebook, or anything like that. And yeah, so hopefully guys all enjoyed Shot Expo. We'd love to hear from guys who are at Sydney as well, particularly guys who came up and said good day. Next one's in Perth in October, and then next year in, I'll get this wrong, but I think May, it's Melbourne's turn. So we'll probably take a bus over again and take a few crew from Adelaide, and then there's other shows in Brisbane next year as well, but now we'll mention them closer to the date. So very good. So guys, thanks for coming in.
Oh yeah, look, I just want to say, Rusty, a big thanks for having me with you in the stand and sort of helping me get Armory Athlete, going, and all your help and support. So
no, easy, guy.
And Benny and Greg, James, all of you guys. Cheers.
No worries. So that's Armory Athlete, and we'll see you on, I guess, Facebook and other mediums shortly as it gets available. And James, let's give us another plug for your blog so people can catch up with you.
Oh, mate, shooter-ready.net.
Yep.
I'll have the SHOT Show overview up probably tomorrow or Tuesday at the latest. Basically, it's just a quick screen grab, I guess you could call it, of what I found interesting and pertinent in the 2016 SHOT Show for the modern Australian shooter.
Brilliant. And Ben, where can people connect with you, mate?
So people can connect with me on email at thearmory300@gmail.com.
Yep.
We're about to launch the website very soon, where the shop is and up and running. We're in the northern part of Adelaide, so it's we're trying to cover the whole area there, which is going to be great at Adelaide Pistol and Shooting Club. So it's
brilliant.
It's really good.
Excellent, guys. Well, that's it from all of us here. We're going to, I think, pretty much dissipate and go to our various rooms here and go to sleep because we're absolutely wrecked. So, anyway, guys, been a pleasure. Greg, thank you again for doing
this.
Cheers, guys.
And
cheers. We'll be back
thanks,
again.
Rusty.
Cheers.
Thanks for listening to the Precision Shooting Podcast. To continue the discussion, check out our Facebook page. And for more information, head to our website, www.precisionshootingpodcast.com.au. This episode was brought to you by Impact Dynamics, advanced training for the precision shooter.